You know, the way that I see it and the way that I'm actually living it in the real world that both you and I live in is that taxes and social media can both be your biggest assets in your life, or they can be your biggest liabilities. And what I'm seeing out there is that social media and taxes are people's biggest liabilities, along with, if you're a homeowner and a mortgage, that's also one of your biggest liabilities. But here's what I mean by that. After 35 years of life, 35 years old, I came in contact with my birth mom and shortly thereafter my birth father for the first time ever. And I've been longing for that for so many years. So I can't tell you how emotionally overwhelming that is, and I just absolutely love it. And we all love it, and I'm very grateful that everybody in this equation wants a relationship, because I know that doesn't always turn out that way. But to keep on point with this video, I made plans to go visit my birth family, and I didn't have to go to a gatekeeper to ask for permission. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have a job, you have to go to a gatekeeper. A very accurate word describing that person, a gatekeeper, because they can decide if you can go or if you can't go. And that's just the way it is. And I'm not going to say this to put down jobs. I'm just calling it out for what it is. So you decide if that's a good or a bad thing. For me, that's a very bad, oppressive way to live, and I'm not going to live that way anymore like I used to. I haven't had a job since 2006, and I'm not going to, because I figured out how to use social media and taxes to be an enormous asset to my life rather than a liability that sucks the life out of me. So here's what I'm talking about. When you say, or anybody, when you say yes or no to an opportunity to invest money into yourself to produce an income that's eventually going to be passive, immediately you think of the day-to-day things, like how great is it going to be if I get to spend my time how I want at my leisure rather than at somebody else's demand. And you think of those day-to-day things, and it's going to be really great. But what you don't think about are things that you aren't going to know about until those events actually happen to you. So the impact, the reach and the impact of this yes or no decision, when you're offered an opportunity to put money into yourself as an investor and a new business owner, when you say yes or no to that decision, the impact and the reach of that decision goes far beyond what any of us will ever think about, including me, even though I'm living it. And you won't know what those things are until they actually happen to you. And you're either going to be prepared for it or you're not. You either said yes to that opportunity and made it work, or you said no, like most people do. And you have these days that just create so much stress, you want to pull the hair out of your head because of those really bad decisions that you made that just strip you of your freedom of being able to do those things. So now you have to run it by a gatekeeper, and the gatekeeper might say no. And if the gatekeeper says yes, well, unfortunately, because you took a job, you're taxed at the highest tax rate in the country. You're not making a lot of money, and if you are, you're losing more of it because you're going to be taxed higher, so you may not have the means to do what you really want to do anyway. And to me, that makes absolutely no sense. And the harder that you work at your job, and the more money you make, the more you are penalized by the tax code. And if you love your job, then it makes sense that you would want to keep your job at your leisure rather than because you need a way to pay the bills. That makes no sense to me. So I could go back and get another job, and it would be at my leisure rather than because I have to so I can afford to live. That is all the difference in the world. And when I get events like this that just happen to me, where I get to meet my birth parents, and they live 1,000 miles away, so I booked airline tickets and things like that, and I can just go. I never asked for permission from anyone to be able to do this. There's no gatekeeper involved. There used to be, back when I used to play in that job racket, and at least from my experiences it was a racket. For you it could be a different experience, so please understand, I'm not putting down jobs, I'm just calling it what they are, and then of course I have an opinion about it from my own experiences. So social media and taxes, they're either going to be an enormous costly liability. I'm talking in the millions of dollars, and what that equates to beyond the dollars, behind the dollars, is chaos, stress, and not being able to spend your time how you want. And when those life-changing events happen that you don't really foresee because you don't know about them until they happen, you know, that's going to make a difference for you too. And that's just the way it is. That's the reality of the world that we live in, the real world that we live in. A lot of people claim they know how the real world works, all the while they're broke and unhappy. And I'm just going to put it out there for what it is. They don't know, they haven't a clue as to how the real world works. If you know how the real world works, and you live in the United States of America, and you're over 21 and you're in debt, and you're not living your dreams, and you do not have a clue as to how the real world works, and you need to humble yourself and realize that you don't know, and be humble enough to criticize your own beliefs and how the real world works. Otherwise, you don't even make room for planting new seed in your brain to take new root that's going to produce a sweeter fruit on your tree. You just won't, because you won't kill the roots of that old seed that produces that bitter fruit. So that's my first suggestion, is to humble yourself down. I mean, way down. Criticize what you believed about your passions, about money, about how you can spend your time, about opportunity, about how you look at putting money into yourself so that you can use taxes and social media and things like that as an enormous asset that is going to equate to millions of dollars, which equates to the reason behind the money, which is you having your life back in your own control, your own hands, no more gatekeeper involved. We're talking about your personal freedom here. Your freedom. I mean, that's a value for me. It's a place where I make my decisions from. What is going to enhance my freedom as well as the freedom of other people? Making this video is going to enhance the freedom of other people. Some are going to criticize it. I might get some hate mail about it. And then others are going to see this video and be inspired to start looking at money differently and how it relates to their passions as a tool, a way to make their dreams come true. And then they're going to do it. So which side of that fence are you going to be on? And if you need some help with that, here it is, my invitation. I have a 30 Days to Profit group that I connect my team to, and it starts the first of the month. So if you want to get in on that, private message me, and I want you to tell me why it's so important that you reclaim your freedom, that you are willing to invest money into yourself if it makes sense to you, that you're going to get your freedom, your life back, and be able to spend your time how you want. And those events that come up that you don't really know about yet, but they're coming and you won't know it till they're here, stuff you don't even think about. Why is it so important that you get into my 30 Days to Profit group and begin making some money in your spare time that will lead to a fortune, so that you can use social media during this whole process and taxes to create an enormous asset, and no more of a liability for those on those things anymore. 98% of the population is going to use those things as a liability. They will live and die broke, unable to retire on an income of their own personal resources. This in the United States of America. It's true. Only 2% have resources that will allow them to retire. Only 2% are financially free and independent. Only 2% even knows how to use taxes and things like social media to increase their personal freedom so that they can live free. So private message me if you want to know more about my 30 Days to Private group, and tell me why you can, tell me why you must, and tell me that you are willing to invest in yourself. Because 1,000% return on an investment of $0 equals $0. And you know what? If you have no money at all and you're totally strapped, message me anyway. I was forced to raise money from absolutely nothing for the purpose of being able to eventually make that investment, which led me to where I'm at today. So if you have no money, get in touch with me anyway. I will work with you for free. I'd work with you for free anyway, even if you did. But if you can't invest in yourself yet, get a hold of me, because we need to raise some money. And if we have to raise it without having any money, so be it, we'll do it. Just let me know, and I will help you. As long as you follow directions and you're serious and you're not offering up excuses anymore. That's it. I hope you all have a great day. I will talk to some of you real soon.